Order. Please stand for the flag salute. Adam, I'm going to get it right tonight. Will you please lead the flag salute?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Adam. Tammy, will you take us through roll call, please?
Yes, I can. Those present are Mayor Shaw, Council Members Baker, Arnbrister, Kemp, and McVeigh. Council Member Roth will be a little late. Staff present is myself, Clerk Treasurer, the City Attorney, City Engineer, Public Works Director in Training. Oh my goodness, Lieutenant Brady, our City Planner. Everyone's here tonight.
Except for Rainey.
Rainey's excused absence, yes.
Thank you, Tammy. Look for approval of agenda, please, Council.
Move to approve the agenda.
Second.
There's a motion, a second to approve the agenda. Any further discussion? Seeing no further discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed 4-0. Thank you, Council. And now look for the approval of the consent agenda.
Move to approve the consent agenda to include January 23, 2024 claim vouchers 8,000 through 2014 and 3 EFTs in the amount of $27,980.72. January 9th, 2024 meeting minutes. February 13, 2024 claim voucher 8015 through 8023 and 8046. And 2 EFTs in the amount of $98,051.45. January payroll in the amount of $41,969.45. And the December and January treasurer's report. These have been audited and approved by the committee. Second.
Motion, a second to approve the consent agenda. Any further discussion? Seeing no further discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed 4-0. Thank you. We'll now go into public comment where we allow somebody in the general public to have 3 minutes to speak to the council. It's not a debate or a question and answer time. And tonight, George from Steady, George Sharp.
Hello, Mayor. Hi, Tammy. And hello, council members. I just want to come say hi. It's representing Steady, South Thurston Economic Development Initiative. We're still meeting. We started in 2012 right here in Rainier, and we meet every month. We meet on third Friday from 8 to 9:30. We had 45 people at our last one at the Elder Center in the Nisqually tribe. And this Friday, we're going to be at the Lucky Eagle Casino with their tribe. And we have normally 4 congressional staff members there. And they're paying attention to what Steady's working on. We're applying for a USDA Rural Development Grant right now for $99,500 to support all our rural communities, have even a stronger strategic plan, and start doing business training for all the businesses in the Steady communities and kind of brand South Thurston County altogether. We're working closely with the new County Commissioner, Wayne Poinier, in the projects that he wants to see happen too. And so I'm just here to ask if you would send a representative to Steady on the third Friday of every month. And then we're also asking each community, what are your projects and top goals that you want to accomplish for the year? And we want to put our efforts to help you accomplish what your goals are. So I just want to stop by and say hi.
Thank you, George. You said third Thursday.
Third Friday of the month.
Third Friday. This is the committee at George sat in on, right?
Yes.
Now that you're off. Okay, thank you. Okay. We'll go to staff reports. Ron, you want to start?
Yeah, fine, Mayor. I submitted a written report. We've been very busy. And of course, we all went through the rounds of being sick, so we shared that quite well. But anyhow, there is a written staff report, so if you have any questions, council.
Any questions for Ron? Thank you, Ron. Thank you, Taryn, for being here.
Commissioner,
You want
just a comment. I want to give a shout out to Public Works and our new employees. they're doing things. And I had last week, had a lady call me in the evening complaining about a dirty street sign and she couldn't read the speed limit. And I just mentioned, I went to look for Ron and he was in training. Mentioned it to Paul and I bet it wasn't 20 minutes later, it was clean. And I really appreciate that kind of initiative. And the same kind of initiative we're seeing from Thurman, the things that are going on. It's refreshing.
Well, thank you, Dennis, and thank you, guys. Okay, Adam, do you have anything besides what we're going to talk about here in a little bit later?
Yeah, our survey department at Grand Osborne, excuse me, did 2 developer reviews that Jim Gibson recently passed on to us. There was an issue at the new crosswalk with the rapid flashing beacon malfunctioning. The contractor Mac came out within 2 days and remedied that, though, it sounds like.
Yeah, it appears to be working good now.
Yeah, so that was resolved. Besides that, hope to come out to Rainier soon today and gather some new hydrant data for our hydraulic model for the water system plan. That's it for me until the sports birds.
Thank you, Adam. Any questions for Adam? Okay, Dennis?
I attended the TRPC meeting last Friday and nothing earth shaking. Nominations were made for new officers for the next year. And the next meeting will vote to put those people in place. And they announced that they're getting some extra money again this year from states and agencies that couldn't spend what they were allotted. And we have plans in place, which is one of the positive things about TRPC, so we're going to get to do more.
Thank you, Dennis. Any questions for Dennis? Ron?
Just my usual, TPB tomorrow.
Good. Okay, any questions for Ron? Thanks, Ron. Tom?
Our EOC radio broadcasts this month, there's a lot of static and stuff coming from the base station. So basically we're going to, probably in the next couple weeks, check out all the radios and make sure they're all up to par and everything's going good. And ones that aren't working good for whatever reason, get them replaced and stuff. So that was the only thing that, and that's been a few years since we've tackled that, so we need to do it again.
Okay.
Other than that, that's about all I have.
Thank you, Tom. Any questions for Tom? Maureen?
No, nothing.
Any questions for Maureen? Thank you. Bill?
Not
Anything?
much,
Nothing to report
not a whole
on?
lot, but if anybody wants to talk to me the rest of this month, please use FaceTime and please don't call after 1 p.m.
Okay.
That's the only thing I got. I haven't heard anything from
I'm gonna say
Mr.
nothing
Hughes up
on,
on tips.
nothing from Hughes from the email that
Haven't
you
heard
sent
a
me.
word.
Okay.
I think the stuff out our water line issue is being resolved slowly, maybe.
Okay.
We hope.
Sounds good.
Is that the water line that we're doing the volume?
I'll be up there in the morning.
Tammy?
I don't have anything.
Okay. Lieutenant or Captain?
Lieutenant.
Lieutenant. I was right the first time. Lieutenant Brady.
Captain Watkins sends his
No, we-
regards from Mexico. You get me tonight.
Well, that's great. It's just you guys always have somebody different, and Tammy and I struggle with lieutenant or captain or which one it is.
Just Ray is fine. I don't have a lot to pass on. I know the calls for service I think look pretty good. I was happy to see as many traffic stops being done in the city is were done in the month of January. The only one larger call that we had was back in early January, was the bomb threat at Dollar General. I don't recall it specifically all of the details on that, but I know our detectives worked with, it ended up being a teenager in South Carolina, I believe, and so they were dealing with that. I was happy with our response, though. We got quite a few units out there pretty quickly. So
Yep, it was good.
yeah, but and I believe Captain Watkins had got a hold of you.
Yeah, he got a hold of me within 15 minutes of it. And he had been here already, and so we'd had a council meeting since that one.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
No, the response time was great. The communication with me was right on. So thank you.
Good. Yeah. That's all I have.
Okay. Any questions for Lieutenant Brady? Thank you, sir. Mr. Jim Gibson.
Planning this month has been pretty quiet. We did review a couple, one boundary line adjustment that we approved. That was for the lot 92 up at Trotter Downs and the pump station. Cleaned up encroachment on the city property there. We processing a short plat for 411 Reflection Lane. Also working through another short plat at 737 Sunrise. That's on a final plat process right now. And we continue to monitor. You mentioned earlier the logging going on up here up in the hill. We have a water line crossing Charm Road property there. That's not within the city limits, so that's really, we're watching it. It's not within our jurisdiction, but we have a utility there, so we're tracking it and keep an eye on that to make sure things are taken care of appropriately. And there's been a lot of conversations, and I've got a lot of inquiries about ADUs and secondary dwelling units on property. The conversation becomes pretty quick and easy when I tell them they gotta go get another septic system. That kind of defeats the process really quickly. But there is a lot of them coming out. They're seeing the things coming out of Department of Commerce and the state legislature talking about ADUs and additional dwelling units and how all legal lots are allowed to have 2 dwelling units on them now. We're working through that. We've talked about it with Mr. Cameron and I about how to approach that in the code. And in the future, we'll talk about that. The thing about Rainier is being septic system sort of eliminates a lot of those conversations due to the nitrate loading. We can't do that here. City of Olympia could stack a whole bunch of small homes on property and they just hook to the sewer system and it works for them.
We
We
rented
don't have
this,
that
so
latitude
they
out
heard stuff.
So, pretty quick, that nutshell, that's the planning department for last month.
Okay. And I asked Jim we were supposed to have a community member talk about the fences over here, and they weren't able to make it tonight. So I'd like Jim to give an update just in case he shows up at another meeting and Jim's not here. So we might as well do that right now because it wasn't on the agenda. It was going to be in public comments. So
Okay, sounds great. So another role I serve is the help with the planning commission. We've had 2 planning commissions meetings over the last 3 months. We approached them, one of each. Originally, we were approached by Wayne's Propane because they wanted to put a fence around their property down here at 205, I believe, Binghamton, because they wanted to start a business there selling propane tanks and do that type of thing. They came in wanting a 6-foot tall chain link fence circling the property. Our code doesn't allow a 6-foot fence in the front of the properties. Our code's written where 6-foot fences are allowed the back and the sides, but need to stop at the front of the building, similar to what you have in your residences. Out front can be a 4-foot. They wanted 6 all the way around. I told them no, code didn't allow it. At the same time, he goes, well, my neighbor here at 205 Binghamton just put up a 6-foot cedar fence out there. And I said, yes, he's not in conformance. Well, why did he get 2 and I didn't? So what I did is I offered the variance process. They could take their concerns, present them to Planning Commission. Planning Commission can rule on it. Even though I clearly didn't have a way to give them what they wanted, I allowed them to go to Planning Commission. They paid the variance fee. They came to us over 2 meetings. Planning Commission did end up denying the 203 Binghamton, the existing wood fence that's out there, said it's still not in conformance. Wayne's Propane decided on the second meeting that they came in with a site plan that met the code. They pulled the 6-foot fence off the front, showed where a building is gonna be going in phase 2. So they're moving forward with a 6-foot fence, based on our code and is acceptable to that. Sam at 205 wanted to take his next level of the variance to you guys. He was on the agenda today, he wanted to come speak to you about that, in hopes that you would overrule planning commission. Planning commission did a really good job in working with Wayne's Propane to present options that worked for them, and they liked it, and it worked out. Sam didn't have that same one, but they held up that you're not in conformance. So his next step is to come talk to city council. He was scheduled tonight, not feeling well, so we expect him to reschedule in the future. But that's the background of how we got to where we're at today.
Thanks, Jim. Any questions for Jim?
Yeah, so what happens, so they're gonna do the fence before the building for the propane people?
Yes.
So what happens if they put the building farther back than the fence?
If they put the building farther back than the fence.
Cause you said the fence has to stop at the building.
In generally, the fence comes, around the backyards up, and it can't protrude past the front of the building. Our code doesn't say whether it's commercial or residential. It's just the way it's done. If they want to set the building farther back in there, it would be. They sent me a site plan. I have a written drawing that I approve saying this is what's acceptable. If they want to come
Or what
in,
they've submitted.
yes. If they want to come in and change it, I would ask them for a new site plan, and
Okay.
we'll look at the review again.
Okay.
They originally were doing a lot of conversations verbally, they wouldn't put much down on paper. And I asked them, I said, we're not gonna go any farther till you give me a site plan that I can actually review and approve and stamp, so we all know what is being done.
Any other questions? Okay. Thank you, Jim. Did I miss anybody? Okay. We'll go to number 7. Amy from We Love Rainier wants to share with council about a new day. I'll let her talk about a new thing that We Love Rainier would like to do this summer.
Technically it's 2, and I almost called you Monday to tell you that, but I figured I already had the time. So I'm just gonna throw it all in. I also thought I would just kind of give you guys an update, in case, well, most of you are familiar, maybe Mr. Roth is not familiar with what we do. Right now, just last week, 2 weeks ago, we got a donation for the Rainier Education Foundation from the pumpkin patch that we did in October. The sources went out this week to the 4th graders. There's a picture on the back and they're so cute, just in case you wanted to see that. Our website is about 75% completed. We definitely needed an update. And we have switched over to our .org. At some point the .com is going to get rerouted. So those are just some things that we're working on right now. I also included the calendar for 2024 because that is finalized with the exception of the last event that we're going to talk about. Wade obviously is no longer with us, so what we were calling Retro Rainier before, I've taken over as the All-American Jubilee. And I have a brief description with some of the things that we're looking to do, along with some of the confirmed vendors that we already have. I asked for you guys, and I'm so sorry, most of you guys. We obviously want the use of Lukowski, but with the Jubilee, it actually is going to extend to other parts of the city. The hope is to draw in more people and have them walking past, the local businesses and kind of exploring a little bit more of the city. Softball tournament over at the elementary school. I'm already working with the maintenance and athletic departments over there. Beer garden. We already have someone that has confirmed they have availability to do that. Do we have temporary fencing?
No,
Okay.
they would have to rent it.
Okay. But that's on there, so you can just kind of go through some of the asks that we have. Watering down the grass the night before for the car show with the classic cars. She asked that we not put enough gravel and maybe wet down the grass because it helps keep the cars to the grass again, City Hall for a cornhole tournament that day. And bathrooms and hand wash station, that's big for both events. I know the bathroom is a hot button issue right now, so if we maybe could get an update between now and then on, I don't know if there's any hope of the brick and mortar bathroom being finished, or if we can maybe get porta potties and hand washing stations. And also, how else you guys would like to be involved? It would be cool if maybe people could come in, meet council members, or get a view of City Hall, or I don't know. Just thoughts, because the theme is all American, right? And we want to get the community involved. We have a reenactment group that's going to come set up as well, which we're really excited about. Which brings me to September. So Spirit 76, they are a historical reenactment group that we've been in contact with. They attended our last meeting. Amazing group of board members. I can only imagine the rest of the team is also equally awesome. And they had an event scheduled for September that was not, the planning on it was getting held up. And we talked about it, and we showed them Mikowski, and they would love to come do a full encampment the last weekend of September with a full reenactment, not Civil War, Revolutionary War reenactment. And we showed them the space, and they're really excited, and I'm hoping this is something we can get some support with. They don't need much, bathrooms, water, and the use of the park. And they were, it's a pretty big deal. We're pretty excited about it. If we can have them, and it seems like it could be a regular thing that could be a really popular event here in Rainier. So that's all I got.
Okay, thank you.
Any questions?
So basically, you're changing the the days that we had. Is it the same weekend?
It is the same weekend. It's the weekend before 4th of July, and we're doing it on a Sunday. I have already talked with Kevin, just to make sure we're on the, in communication as far as like people's toes and things. And he's good to go with it. So we are doing it on a Sunday though. And yeah, that'll be basically our 4th of July event.
Okay.
Just on the weekend, not on the 4th.
Okay. And I'm sure the council, so I'm going to jump on it before they are. What is your thoughts on the beer garden? Why don't you elaborate some more? Because I know they're going to be asking questions, and then I'll leave it up to them.
Yeah, so with the beer garden, it is, I've already talked to Mike about the use of the, basically the concrete pad next to his building, and having it fenced off, and that's one of the requirements to have a beer garden. And the people that I talked to, they already have their own, they have their insurance, their licenses, they do beer gardens on a regular basis, so they already have all of that. We wouldn't have to do any of the paperwork really, we would just provide the space, and maybe a couple of volunteers to, card at the gate, just kind of keep an eye on things. And it would only be beer, there's no hard alcohol or anything like that. And we're ending it pretty early. We're looking at about a 12 to 5 time frame, so it's not, a rager keg party on Main Street or anything.
So it would be on Mike's property, so it's not on city property.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I think our next question that you guys are probably going to want to know is Bill's stand on that. Do we have anything that the council could do if it's a beer garden on private property?
Well, the liquor control board controls most of that. I don't remember whether we have any kind of veto over it or not. I think that's about as far as it goes.
I mean, I'd like to know if you want to veto it so that we can adjust, but even if you don't have like legal standing, like I don't want to pull that card,
Just trying to lead up to the things where I knew what Tammy had shared with me where you were planning on having it, but I think So I'll let the council, if you got any questions regarding the beer garden part of that, knowing that would not be on city property.
I just have one question. Since it's gonna be in that concrete pad, what kind of effect is that gonna have on our business that's over there using that concrete pad in our taco truck?
The taco truck, that's something that they weren't there when this plan started. So, we'll have a conversation with them, see if they wanna move off to the side, or if they wanna be there at all that weekend. I'm trying to be really careful about, taking into consideration, everyone that might be impacted. So we'll have a conversation with them
It'd be
for sure.
nice if you could do both at the same time.
Yeah.
I was gonna say tacos
Yeah.
go great with
I
beer.
know.
They've got good food and they seem to be doing well.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
okay, I just was curious if you thought about that.
Any other conversations regarding the beer garden? So will do we need her to bring some more information regarding, okay, let's move on to any other questions on basically changing the name. I mean, I don't know if that's much of our decision as your decision as a council if they want to change the name to Jubilee, but any more questions on the Jubilee activities?
You mean as far as what's outlined here?
Hi,
Yeah,
Ryan.
just- hello?
Yeah,
I'll
I
let you
have-
sit down,
yeah.
we'll let you sit down and get you caught up, but. Okay, go ahead, Maureen, now that he's sitting down.
So the stuff that you have, like under the Jubilee, the asks, have you put any kind of dollar amount to any of those things as to what the cost to the city would be?
I don't, because I don't know. And that's why I'm hoping to get with you guys early and often, so that if it's not something that can be covered by the city, we can talk about, do we have the budget to provide it, or is this something that we're gonna put down to the vendors? Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Okay.
and kind of this,
Go ahead.
kind of the same on the back, the asks of the city for the one you're having in, did you say September?
Yes,
Have you put a cost to all of that?
I don't, no.
Is this an action item that we have to vote on tonight?
This is not an action item, this is just a discussion item that Amy has brought to us. We have a separate, I don't want the council to get confused, we have a separate action item tonight
Well, that's what I am
responding
confused.
to their request for out of our budget money. I think this is, are you tying this in with the request that is going to be on the agenda here in a couple minutes?
I don't think so. Mm-mm.
So
So can
now
I,
I'm, go ahead.
I was going to say, this is just a new event that she made the presentation tonight, in addition to the other events that we love Rainier does.
So I guess my only comment would be your ask of the city for fencing for Emmons lot. Since that's private property, the city should not have anything to do with that
That
or
makes
any
sense.
responsibility.
Well, and then I answered the question, we don't have it anyway, so that's not, and that's something we'll figure out. Like I said, nothing's set in stone, and the asks are, these are things I could think of that maybe, I might ask for, and I can find out, we can take a look at maybe previous events and what the cost has been previously to do those things. So I don't have a definitive, hey, this is how much I'm asking for. This is more of a, let's check in, here's where we're headed. Do you see any issues before I get too deep into it?
Okay. Okay, well, I do know, I guess I'm a little confused here now. So the council's on the agenda is to respond or to go over your guys' request for money donated to your organization. That'll be coming up here in a couple minutes.
Separate.
Yeah, generally on this, you're coming to the council wanting to get permission to have a an activity. You know, you've had your Easter egg hunt, you've had your Christmas tree lighting, and Help Me George,
Trunk or treat.
Oh,
trunk or treat, and all those. So this line item of things you're asking for the city, I think, should fall under the request that we're going to be talking about here in a couple of minutes, because we've got a new, and I'm mainly speaking because you're, I guess, the new president. Have you taken over for?
Co-president.
Co-president.
Technically, I'm
The
VP.
insurance guy has left town.
Right. Yes.
So if you guys didn't know that, so what was his name? Wade has left town, so he's not the president that was doing it. But yeah, just, you know, you get the permission to do those events, which you've had for 3 or 4 of those other events. So, any other questions?
Yeah, if I'm understanding, what you're asking for is permission to replace an event that went away with another similar event on the same time. And you're
Basically.
looking for approval.
Yeah, because retro was basically it was Wade's, right, and that was his. He promoted and funded a lot of it, and there was talk of just taking and not having a July event, and I would prefer that we have something. I think it's important, and I think it's an event that could be a really good community event. So this is what I would like to replace it with, and it's a little bit different. So yeah, I just wanted to kind of make sure that you guys were on board and that we, you know.
So, reading this, it's a little confusing to me. You're wanting to have a car show.
Yes.
At the same time you have a beer garden.
Yep.
At the same time you have vendors.
Yep.
So, there's no fee for Wilkowski Park. We did away with that.
No.
Still a fee.
We have no vendor fees.
No vendor fees. Okay. And how big a deal is wetting down the grass?
That's not a huge thing.
'Cause, yeah, you
We
wouldn't
can deal
want-
with that for the car show area. That won't be a big deal.
It's late June. It might wet itself down.
It could. It could.
You don't want to turn it into a butthole either.
No.
They've done that for the car shows, so
Yeah,
they're.
we've done it in the past. It's not a big issue. Wow.
And then I have a question about your meet and greet tour of City Hall. What are you envisioning there?
You know what, that was, we're still in the throw it against the wall phase of thinking of ideas, and keeping in the theme of, American history and, educational, aspects that we can bring to the Jubilee. You know, whatever you guys can think of to get people involved and have them feel comfortable coming to you guys and coming to meetings and meet the mayor, or, you know, just up to you.
Okay.
Okay. I think. Go ahead.
I have something to say.
Yep.
Aren't
I
you
never
gonna say
know.
more
I
questions? This is where I'm having a hard time separating it, is you're asking for money here, but then you have asks over here that are gonna have costs associated with them, but we don't have the costs. So I kinda would like to maybe table this ask until we can see the money cost to this ask, because I don't know, I personally feel like it's not fair to vote on this and then turn around and ask for money for this, if the money we're giving here can possibly cover this.
Agreed. I'm all for the idea of an event that includes
Yeah, I'm
the
perfectly
community.
fine with the
But
event.
I agree with Maureen, let's talk about cost one time.
Okay, and that's fine. But when we get to the action item, that's where somebody's gonna have to table the item at that time. We aren't there yet. But if we went there and allocated money, then they would have that money to, the whole idea that you guys put money in the budget 2 months ago was that organizations were to make a request, which we have an organization that has made their request, and you guys make a determination. If you get there here in a couple of minutes and you give them that money, then I thought the reason we put that in our budget is then there is no more dialogue. They have the money, they know what money they have to work on with their projects, because we've budgeted them like we've done in the last couple of years.
So,
I can see that going the other way too, is that then they know, I don't even want to talk about how much you may be giving them, but then they know that they can put it into budget for this stuff, and then that's where I was lost about. I'm not sure why this project came to light today, because I thought you guys should know maybe how much money the city's going to give you, and then they're not asking for this money over here because they're going to have the money you give them.
well, I see this as two totally separate issues. The money issue, we're gonna deal with. This, it seems to me, you're just asking for permission to establish an event.
Yes. That is
That's-
the purpose of Amy's visit today.
Yeah, so.
It's a new event, so we wanted to clear it with council that they could host it.
So I move that we allow We Love Rainier to put on the All-American Jubilee.
Any further discussion?
As long as that doesn't include the asks for the city, as long as we're just approving the fact that we're approving the event itself.
Exactly, that's exactly right.
Which, so we're approving no different than the other activities you've done in the past. You will be charged your $100 to use whatever park, and I see here, looks like you may be wanting to use more than one park, so without getting our fee structure out here, I can't answer that. But if we're just talking about that, then that's what your guys' motion is that correct? Okay, so there's a motion, a second, to allow We Love Rainier to rename the retroactive days to Jubilee days. Any further discussion? Seeing no further discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. Thank you. Thank you, Amy. Okay. Now we're going to move to number 8, which I just covered a little bit. We put money in our budget. The last couple of years, we have given some money to We Love Rainier. You as a council in budget season and at our retreat decided that we would actually put it in our budget as a line item and allocate so much money. And we had our staff, Beth, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Beth did a good job putting together a actual form that nonprofits had to fill out and request, and they had to have a deadline of January 31st.
Mm-hmm.
And we had one request this year, and it happened to be We Love Rainier, and their application is in your agenda, and they hit the deadline, and hopefully you've all had a chance to go through and look at, the request, their budget sheets, and they did a good job of showing what activities they've had and everything. So I know everybody's looking through that. So this is an action item and open for discussion.
Question, if I understand correctly, we have established the 2024 budget and approved it, and in that 2024 budget, we allocated $2,000 to support We Love Rainier.
No.
No?
No, that's what we had done last year and the year before.
Okay.
Now we've actually put it in our budget. The last 2 years, it wasn't a budget item. This year, you as a council actually put it in our budget as a line item. We have money in a separate budget for nonprofits, is the line item we put in, right?
Correct.
Okay. And there is a lump sum in there that you approved at the end of December for any nonprofits to come through. So we now have one application this year that is asking for $3,000. Does that answer your question, Dennis?
Yes.
Okay, so,
I had misunderstood. I thought we had allocated a certain amount. We did, but not specifically to that.
Correct.
we opened it up because, council retreat, because of one of the items that Tom brought to it, we opened it up and you guys decided to put it in there and open it up to any nonprofit groups rather than have one come to us like We Love Rainier. We opened it up to anybody and only one person has applied, but they had to do it by January 31st. So if anybody comes to us the rest of this calendar year, they have not met the deadline. So,
Okay, all right.
anybody else? Tom, George, or Ron?
No. It's basically the way we laid out the plan, and I think it's great that we're able to stick with it and help out.
Okay, so does anybody have a motion to what you want to allocate?
I move to allocate $2,000 in the past. I'll second that.
Okay, there's a motion and a second to allocate $2,000 to We Love Rainier and their nonprofit organization. Any further discussion? No further discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. Ryan, did you vote?
Yes,
Okay. Was that yeah?
yeah.
Okay. So motion passed 5-0. Thank you, council. So you got $2,000 again, Amy, for your We Love Rainier. When does she have to do anything to get that from you?
Nope, we'll cut the check at the next council meeting, which will be, well, even though we don't have a council meeting at the second Tuesday, we'll still cut the check. So I'll let Beth know you can come in the Wednesday. What would that be, the 28th? Yeah, Wednesday the 28th.
Okay. Okay, thank you, council. Number 9. Well, since we met last time, we have good news. The bid went out. We got great numbers back. It paid off to pull the bid back from the fall and do it when people were looking for work. And we are moving forward with the sports court. And we will get the basketball resurfaced and totally new fence and good lighting and should be covered by the grant that we got from Thurston County. Adam, what do you got?
Yes, so there was the money from Thurston County, which amounts to $430,000 at this point. And I don't know if it was mentioned I think it was, we talked about it at the last council meeting, how they don't require the city to match it anymore. So that's nice too. As you'll see, the lowest bidder is at $367,288. That leaves just about enough for the $58,000 that PSE has estimated for their lighting. Since they don't work as a subcontractor, just note that that is billed separately from this project. You'll see a bid error at the bottom from All Terrain Excavating. It's kind of shocking, nearly $15 million. So they were actually at the top as the lowest bidder. They made their bid error was putting $20,000 as a unit price for resurfacing the basketball court, which is 670 square yards. So that was their fatal bidding error. Unfortunately for them, however, Black Hills being number one there, they actually did the Woodruff courts in Olympia. So they're experienced in this. The references checked out well, and they're using the same surfacer as well. And the surfacer has glowing reviews from Oregon to Washington, soon. I'm thinking maybe they'll start in May, since it's weather dependent, the surfacing. The surfacing is done, like I discussed before, in a 3-month window in summer months, so.
And if you can let Tammy know as soon as you can, because that is gonna affect people using Wachowski, and it's
Right.
good that we love Rainier's hearing that right now, that when they start there, they're probably gonna fence off quite a bit of that. You think they'll come on this side of the trail, or you think they'll keep everything between the trail and 507?
Well, what do you want them to do? Their staging area is actually that way, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just,
So,
as
you
soon
can
as you can get something from them, so Ron and
Yeah.
Public Works and Tammy are on page, because, that's gonna be, we have a car show that uses the park. We Love Rainier has it for, Easter egg and things,
Right.
so.
Yeah, we'll make sure that they coordinate with the city's needs and events going on, so.
I think that's the only things that we have to tell the car show people, that they don't have the park this year. We wanna make sure that if somebody doesn't have access to our park, that they can find another location is important to me. Can you think of anybody else?
Well, it should be fenced by then, so they're probably not going to be in there anyways. The construction.
Our fencing, unless they chose to use that as their staging. But anyway,
It
as
should
soon
be
as we
fine.
can get them out, maybe get them out here and meet with us and meet with Ron, or maybe it's with you, so we can know what they're going to use for their staging area. That'd be great.
Okay.
I would prefer that they would stage everything to keep it on site at the court area on that side of the trail between the highway and the court. Because we're also gonna be doing new fencing down around the playground and the whole area into there, so, and that's gonna happen this spring. So, if they can keep the staging from the trail to the 507, I think that would work the best on our behalf. And as well as other events, I think it would work
Yeah.
the best, if that's possible.
And there's quite a bit of land there to go down
Exactly.
toward the sidewalk crossing and coming back up here toward the church. But
I think that's ample staging area, I would think.
anything else, Adam?
No, that's it.
Great job. Thank you for the bid opening. Thank you for reopening this. It's great news.
Yeah, thank you. I think also it's interesting, it was unfortunate that I got delayed last year, but it gave the council time to reconsider the tennis court. And there's this transitional period right now, I guess, with the popularity of tennis waning and pickleball exploding. So, before we designed it with a tennis court because that was appropriate at the time, but now it looks like that wouldn't have had much use, as they're reusing tennis courts in the area and all over for pickleball now. So the county, I think you saw that email with Mike Lohman, and all the references that I spoke to too for this contractor and the servicers, they're all excited about pickleball. So we expect the courts to get a lot of use.
Mr.
No.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion.
Please.
Okay, I move that we approve Black Hills occupation bid of $367,288.18 for the bid on the pickleball court.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve Black Hills as our contractor for the sport court. Any further discussion?
I did have one question, real quick. Did you talk about security fence with them at all? Because sometimes they do put it in the bid, or are they going to do it to protect the materials that are there? Especially if you're close to the highway, you can have theft issues as well as safety concerns.
They've not discussed that, but it's expected that they will keep everything secure because it's on them to
It is
do
on
that.
them.
So yeah, if anything was stolen, they have to replace it, and they know that. So
Okay.
they're insured. And, yeah.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed 5-0. Thank you, council. Thank you, Adam.
Thank you.
Any new business?
Not really new business, just I'd like to throw out a new idea that when we hire our summer help this year, that we establish a program that when that person comes on board, that the first thing they do before they start mowing and trimming is spend a few days and wash all of the street signs within city limits, speed limit and otherwise, get all the moss and dirt and crap off them.
Okay, thank you. Any new business? Okay, any old business?
Move to adjourn.
So motion, a second to adjourn. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting adjourned at 5:50 p.m. Thank you, council. Thank you for everybody that was here tonight.